Hey, panelists, welcome back to the show. I'm Mark.
I'm Robert.
And I'm Steve.
And this is going to be a spoiler-full podcast about both episodes 3 and 4 of Secret Invasion. So, unfortunately, we had a little bit of scheduling issues when it came down to actually recording and podcasting. Rob went on a little bit of vacation. Steve couldn't make it. So we said, why not? Just make it a double feature and have fun. We'll start off with the first episode, which is episode 3, Betrayal. And the synopsis, Steve?
Fury uncovers a rebel scroll plot. That's it. Short to the point.
Short to the point. So, overall thoughts about this, Rob?
Yeah. So on Betrayal, I mean, first of all, again, being surprised that Fury was married. So that was a big thing that I was actually, surprised at. But overall, you know what? I have to say that this show is getting better. There's always more little things here and there. It's starting to really grow on me, and that's what I said. I was going to wait for it, for it to kind of mature itself. Definitely with number 4, which we'll also discuss, it really then took off. But
yeah,
overall, I think especially Samuel L. Jackson has been doing some great acting in this show, and the cast has just been phenomenal.
Yeah, I agree. He's been great, and because he's had to really do dual roles kind of to show Fury before the blip and Fury after the blip.
Right.
So it's been really great. No, I thought that episode 3 was great because it answered a lot of questions that we had, and it brought up some more questions, but it there was a lot of reveals in that episode 3 that, like we're going to talk about, is going to lead right into 4. So
correct.
Yeah. And I agree. I found it very interesting. They give us these little tidbits every episode that just captures our interest even more so. Especially when it starts off from years previous where Fury meets who, as we know, his wife, who is, I think her name is Vara.
I think that's right. Vera or Para, something like that. And Priscilla is her human name.
So, correct.
Yeah. But like Vara, I think is what it was.
Yeah, Vara. And they have this little conversation, little poking of like interest, and you could tell where the relationship started.
Mm-hmm.
But this also goes through like discussion of her and what happened during the blip, I think, a little bit. And even into episode 4, we get more of a realization about what's going on with her and their marriage, as it were, because the fact that, I just laugh at the fact that Fury, of all people, he basically must have coaxed Hawkeye into this. So Clint Barton must have took a page from his book to have a life, because he hid it from S.H.I.E.L.D. and he hid it from the world. And yet this is a Skrull that he's married to. So, and I think we kind of get the gist of that in the very beginning, because literally the encounter, the meet cute that they have at the cafe.
Yeah, it was really great. In fact, I have that quote that she says where she says, "Our unit doesn't exist, Fury. I don't work for you." And then he's like, "Okay, I guess technicality we can we can kind of get together then,
Yeah. So apparently he must know her as a Skrull at this point, and
right. Well, she was the Skrull that introduced Gravik to him in the last episode, in episode 2.
Right.
She was the one that brought Gravik forward and introduced
as a small boy.
Yeah, as a little boy, right? And so this is now we jump forward like 14 years to where they're meeting in the cafe. So
yeah, and I think it's a nice little interesting inside view of Fury's personal life, which we never really get, only from hearsay from him. If you ever noticed it, he doesn't get very personal, except for, well, the one person we don't have anymore, Colby Smulders. We don't have, Maria Hill.
Yeah.
No, and it's interesting because like the relationship between like Fury and Vera, he abandoned her twice. So it just seems like, he kind of takes off, does his, spy thing, and she just seems very understanding about it. I mean, it seems like it affects her,
Yes.
Oh,
but
for
still
sure. I mean,
very
she says that.
understanding. Yeah, but still very understanding about it.
When the blip happened, nobody really knew what were those people dead? Were they gone? Could they possibly come back? Nobody really knew. And it wasn't until 5 years later that everybody came back. So she says in in episode 3, she says, I cried in your pillow every night for 5 years, waiting as if you were dead. And then you come back from the blip and you go away again voluntarily this time.
Yeah.
And so she really has that abandonment kind of stuff going on.
Yeah, abandonment issues from her husband.
Right.
Yeah. But was there anything you guys that liked within like a point that you want to talk about that was very much interesting that we could discuss?
Well, I mean, one of the big things we got revealed was the Super Scrolls. I mean, Mark, I got to give you the credit. You figured that out. You and Rob figured that out real quick, that we were going to get Super Scrolls.
Yeah.
And that's what Gravik says. But instead of just one, Gravik says he wants to make all of them Super Scrolls.
Yep.
So, like, and that healing factor, where did that healing factor? Because that's a different kind of healing factor.
That was from Extremis.
Okay.
If you remember, what was it? Iron Man 3. The one that people don't want to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's the one with all the different armors, and then it had also the fake Mandarin.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
Extremis or Extremis, whatever
That's
they call
his
it.
that glowing
Correct.
healing
Yeah.
that happens. Okay. That was really cool. But the question I had was
Mhm.
how many of them have been changed at this point? Because like in the restaurant, when all those other scrolls are in there and he heals, none of them really act surprised at all. So I wonder how many, if it's just Gravik and
I think Gravik is creating an army of these people that have the 4 core DNA that they have on
Mhm.
file right now, which would be Groot, which would be Extremis, which would be who else? There was
Frost Giant, something about a Frost Giant was
yeah,
in there
the Frost,
also.
Frost Giant, and then
So he had,
Obsidian.
yeah, he had, what was, like you said, Groot, or at least the species from Groot,
Mhm.
right? So, and then the Frost Giant, and there was something else from Asgard. It was an Asgardian something
That
else
was the Frost Giant.
no, but there was some. I think there was something else.
Oh, really? That we didn't really
Yeah.
get to break down. Probably there was
Yeah.
more. I'm sure there's more in those files that we have not seen.
Right.
Because, it was an old computer. Think about it. It was a CRT monitor and it had a lot of files. And all we saw was over Gaia's shoulder at that point. But
Yeah.
I wouldn't put it past them that if they had more. And it seems, though, with Extremis that is in Gravik, it is stable because at the point when we last saw this happen in Iron Man 3, people were not stable. They would blow up. They became ticking time bombs and they blew up in front of people, which was really the cause and the issues that they had within Iron Man 3. So now I guess the Skrulls, since that maybe within their DNA, they're able to control it a little bit and utilize that to whatever they need but when they were sampling it and dealing with it back then for human DNA, they got screwed up.
Yeah. Interesting.
Another thing I actually liked, or at least that it stand out. So the bantering before from Talos and Fury. I thought that was just a great scene. Them in the car just kind of bickering to each other, and that seemed very, very MCU.
Yeah, that bar scene when they're in the bar and Talos forces him to say, I can't do anything without you, Talos. Please help me, or whatever he makes him say. Yeah, that was great. That whole back and forth. Are you going to have breakfast with me? Oh, I just lost my appetite.
Basically, basically the whole episode with the bickering and bantering between those two, even during the time when they were interrogating, trying to get the passcode from that one Skrull. It literally boiled down to Talos trying to get Fury to state he couldn't do this without him and his people to be spies and to be a huge thankful. It's kind of like one of those, like, friendships that are just not hostile, but are aggravated because hey, you needed me, but I was there, but also I helped you, and
Right.
it's like them throwing each other like issues in their faces at the same time. But also there's that issue of, Talos having to deal with, Fury, and Fury being upset. It's like, hey, you hit 1,000,000 scrolls from me, bub.
Right.
Yeah, it's like it was only supposed to be X amount of people.
Yeah.
So that's literally what it boils down to. It's showing their friendship and how it is. They do respect one another. They do care for one another, which we do
Right.
see in the next episode too,
Mhm.
because the final scene shows that immensely for the fact of what Fury has to deal with now.
Correct.
Episode 5.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then I love what you had to talk about with Steve when Gravik stabs Talos's hand. It was something out of John Wick
No.
Chapter 4.
Other way around. Talos. Yeah, you're right. Talos stabbed Gravik's hand.
Yeah.
Other way around. Right.
Yeah. Talos. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Talos does that. And then, he pulls
And
the
then
hand away, and it's straight out of John Wick Chapter 4.
Yeah.
And it heals.
Yeah. You see that glowing light, and that's really cool.
But they could get away with this now because it's Disney Plus and they're aliens and they don't have to call it rated R.
Yeah.
Well, because there's no blood. I mean, if you make it a glowing hand, then that's a cool thing. If all of a sudden the hand was just split in half and it was bleeding, then little kids are gonna have nightmares for a while.
Yeah, I think they're beyond the point where little kids are actually watching this. I don't think parents are. It's like the kids are probably like, "This is boring. What is all this espionage stuff? Can I go watch a Little Mermaid, Mom?"
Yeah, it's just that this series, and like I said, even though it is, to me, it's very very interesting, and it's it has kind of grabbed my attention. But it is a slow burn, and the problem with this series, one, it wasn't very well marketed, so because the numbers are really low on this thing. And also the fact that you don't have some of the major players that have come out in some of the movies in this. You have, I mean, Samuel L. Jackson, as great as he is, and as great as I mean, he's a fantastic actor.
You got Emilia Clarke.
You got Emilia Clarke, but like I said, I mean,
none of them.
And up until now, Emilia Clarke, honestly, like people were like, "What's her role in this besides her being,
the daughter of Talos?"
The daughter, right? Yeah. Exactly. So, but it just seems like, again, this wasn't marketed very well, and if they had, like, of course, the comic books have the whole thing where it's not only people in power, but it's also superheroes.
Yeah.
Right.
Which of course it makes you very very suspicious of Rhodey. Right. Because of the way he just came out at Nick Fury. Yeah. And and of course we'll talk about the next episode in just a moment. But I think if they had some of the major players from the MCU movies, and somehow they showed that, hey, some of these that probably fought, were fighting there along with Thanos and or against Thanos and all that stuff, were actually Skrulls or something like that. We're never going to get that because I'm sure to get those actors will be a very expensive
it's
show.
Definitely on that budget where they can't really, so they're banking it on whatever the cast that they have. And the fact that we do have Rhodey as like a character from the MCU as well as Fury himself,
right,
and that being two major key players. If they throw somebody in last minute, I wouldn't be surprised just for a cameo.
I get what you're. I totally agree that the problem is that these characters that they have are like, even Rhodey is kind of a background. I mean, yes, he's a main star, a main character. He's a big actor. But they're always the behind the scenes guys. They're putting things together. And so I think that's why this maybe doesn't appeal to the same people in mass that like the superhero shows. And
it's more government based, more political intrigue, very much like what we covered with Falcon and the Winter Soldier, Steve.
Mhm.
They didn't really have much of anybody on that. They did introduce Wyatt Russell as the new quote unquote Captain America at that time. And we're
Yeah,
going to get him in, obviously in the MCU standard when it comes to the Thunderbolts. So he's going to be,
eventually. Yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
So we're going to get him back. But
Um, yeah, but getting back to this episode 3, there was one point that I really enjoyed, especially the second time around. I really thought that moment when before they go to the restaurant, when Gravik and Talos are in like the museum or that art museum, and Gravik makes that whole speech about soldiers and the difference between soldiers and statesmen. And
Right.
you can tell that he's really trying to offend Talos by calling him a statesman, not a soldier. And I thought that was there's a really powerful scene between the two of them of him saying that soldiers want to fight, they don't want to stand for a portrait to be taken. So I thought that was the second time around really hit me more than it did the first time.
yeah, I when I saw it the second time, I felt the same way. It showed more fierceness in what his cause is and where Talos stood in his presence and what he feels. And Gravik's obviously his attitude and feeling about it is attack everything and take, whereas with Talos, he wants to do it more politically correct, integration, and there's also a conversation too that we get in the next episode with Gaia and him. Oh, hold on, we forgot. Next subject, Gaia's
Yeah.
death, quote
Yeah.
unquote.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was shocking. That was shocking to me. And then, of course, again, because we've watched the next episode, so we know what the ultimate is going to be of that. We should have considered that. I didn't even consider it when I saw it. I was just shocked that she was. And I don't mean this in a bad way, so don't
Good.
really take this bad. I never realized how tiny Amelia Clark.
Oh yeah, she is.
Oh yeah,
Like
she's a tiny.
in Game of Thrones, they try to call show her not as being tiny, I think, but
She's
in
like
this one
too.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is like in this one they really lean into how tiny she is, and I thought that was really so. I'm this is what my hope is, because of we know what the next episode reveals. I want to see a fight between Gravik and what's her scroll name?
Gaia.
Gaia. I want to see a fight between Gravik and Gaia because I think that would be a cool fight.
That'd be interesting. The fact that we do get that at the end, and we do, spoilers, everybody. We said this is a spoiler-full podcast,
Mhm.
but you guys have already probably watched episode 3 already by now, and by the time you're hearing this, you're like, oh crap, I already watched episode 4.
Right.
But
Hopefully.
yeah, hopefully, but I'm sure they have. But the thing is that I was really keen on the idea. I was like, all right, I was trying to spit this out the last time we were all together and we were talking. If you think about it with Marvel, a lot of people come back. Fury came back. They kind of faked his death. Rob, you were talking about Coulson too, but that's an alternate universe apparently. And on top of that, they're going to continue this fake out. And they do this in the comics too. They actually do bring characters back. So
yeah.
I would not be surprised if we get to see a different Maria Hill.
Right.
I would
totally
not put it past that, the fact that we got a different Maria Hill. And
Well,
that one
keep in-
that we got was
Keep in
not
mind
really her.
that in the trailers for the Marvels,
Yes,
you do see Maria Hill, and you also see,
Fury.
Nick Fury and everything, seems to be back in who he is. But
we've
yeah,
seen
no,
that in this show as well. We've seen the flashback to a younger Fury.
Yes,
right.
So I'm still thinking the Marvels is going to be flashback stuff, but it
I
might be.
would. We won't know until that time comes.
Yeah,
But I always keep that door ajar for those characters to come back in when they want to walk back into our lives.
I have another huge question that has been bothering me since the first episode,
Good.
and I want somebody to explain this to me. How do their clothes change? When the scrolls change, their clothes change, because
That is true.
in that restaurant scene, when all those scrolls get up and they all change it to look like Gravik, they all have the exact same Gravik clothes on. And then when they go back to their regular, they have clothes. How do their clothes change?
Not sure. That's a
Not
good
sure.
question.
That's a really great question. And
'Cause-
Disney Marvel, if you have an answer for that, please let us know.
I'm just
Because the only other person that was able to do that was Mystique in the Fox
Right.
right.
movies that we
And
had.
it's just was bugging me. And it was especially prevalent in this episode because, like I said, in that restaurant scene, when all those other scrolls turn into Gravik, they all have the same costume. So they all look exactly alike, like Gravik, and then they go back to being their regular people with their regular clothes on. Someone needs to help me out. Do they have some sort of technology? I don't know.
Who knows? Well, then again, there's that shield technology they use. Remember when Black Widow posed as somebody else? She had the mask thing.
Yeah,
And we had that also in the Falcon and the Winter Soldier with Sharon Carter.
Yeah, no, I totally see that, but that's one person. This is like an entire group of people.
Yeah, true.
So anyway, it's just been bugging me since the first or second episode. I was just
Maybe
seeing this.
maybe the clothes are
Part of them.
well, meaning like the clothes is like actual skin that's just mimicking clothes. I don't know, man.
I don't know. Okay.
Well,
listen,
that would mean they're naked.
yes, exactly.
Good enough.
Listen.
Good enough.
It's in the end, it's comics.
It is
Right.
comics.
Exactly.
That's
Yeah,
exactly.
I don't
it.
want to think
We
too
have
hard
to-
about it.
We have to. We have to suspend our disbelief.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
Jason usually says.
Yeah.
Another thing for me, and I remember when I watched episode 3 the first time, and I don't, in the subtitles just say man when Fury's wife is talking on the phone, but it's very clearly Don Cheadle's voice. Like I've been watching the Wonder Years, so I've heard his voice a lot because he narrates the new reboot of the Wonder Years.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about
That's
that.
very clearly Don Cheadle's voice. Like they didn't even try to disguise it at all, and that's very
No, not
clearly
at
Don
all.
Cheadle on the phone with her. And I'm just like, just admit to us that it's Rhodey. Like, just tell us. Just, we're gonna find out. We're gonna find out in the next episode that for sure, yeah, it is. But and then like they're gonna hit us over the head with it in the next episode. So
Well,
that he's a squirrel.
I noticed a lot about how Rhodey is talking within this particular within the past 3 episodes. Like, I'm talking 4, 3, and 2. It's
Mhm.
not the way that we know that Rhodey speaks.
yeah,
And right away, I'm like, well, that's not Rhodey. So right, that's the reason why I was saying that it's like he's got to be a Skrull. How long has he been a Skrull?
Right.
Now, during the time, and honestly, I've been out on Workman's Comp for a while, and I think I watched Infinity War into Endgame at least a good 3 times total through, back to back. Now,
Right.
what Skrull in their right mind would be on camera going, canopy, and then everything open up, and he has to crawl with his arms to get himself through that rubble when he realizes, I'm not being seen. I could just get up and walk. So I don't think it was at the time of Endgame that, like after Endgame,
Right.
that
Yeah,
he
no,
turned
I
into a
think-
Skrull.
I think they're going to show that it's been, at least for Rhodey, it hasn't been very long. that
It
he's
had to
been
be like
swapped out.
at least a year or 2.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say, because we're talking with the Marvel Cinematic Universe right now. We're in the future. We're not even in present time for us.
Yeah, it should be like 2025 or 26, something like that.
26 or 27 at this
Okay.
point. Yeah,
Okay.
because it was 5 years with the 5-year blip.
And that was from 2017, right?
Correct.
2018. Yeah. So 2022 or 2023. Yeah. Yeah.
And then add a couple of years in between of what we have to deal with.
Mhm.
So I'm thinking, okay, this is interesting. So
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm like, I really think it's only been about maybe a couple of years. But the one thing we didn't really touch on, which is the last point we should really discuss on this particular episode,
Mhm.
is how we find out that Priscilla / Vara is working with Gravik at the very end, because she goes to the
Correct.
the safety deposit box, and there's a gun there, and she we know right away that she's working with Gravik
And
for
then
the
she gets the
Tunma.
phone call from Don Cheadle. Yeah.
Yeah.
The only other thing that I didn't notice until the second episode is it because the first time I watched episode 3, it kind of this line or this exchange kind of confused me. But then the second time I watched it, I realized, oh, because they abort the mission to shoot down the United Nations plane, and when it gets back to Gravik that the mission was aborted,
Mhm.
he says something like, "Well, that wasn't the primary mission. The primary mission was to find the traitor." And that's how he realizes that Gaia was the traitor, is because that's the only way they
Correct.
could have gotten that information was from her. And so that's why he kills her there at the end of episode 3. But I didn't catch that. I didn't really understand that fully until the second time through, that I went, oh, okay. So the plane was really not shooting down the United Nations plane wasn't really the primary mission.
Hmm.
It was really trying to find the traitor. So
Yeah.
But if it would have been successful, he still would have been extremely happy about that.
Mhm. Oh yeah, I'm
Oh,
sure
yeah,
it wouldn't
yeah.
have bothered him,
Yeah.
but it would have muddied the waters with who the traitor is. So
Yeah.
All right. Well, that was kind of quick coverage from episode
I do have
3.
one more quote from episode 3 that I thought was really cool. Was
Sure.
when Talos and Gravik are talking. One of the things Gravik says something about I'm going to kill them. Talos tells him not to kill innocents, and Gravik says something about how he's going to keep going and keep pushing. And this was Talos's line. I thought it was really cool. You don't understand the first thing about humans. They're at their most formidable when they're threatened by a common foe. So I thought that was a really cool, when they're threatened. They're at their most formidable when they are threatened by a common foe.
Yeah, when they're backed in a corner at
Mhm.
that point.
Right.
Yeah.
When there's nothing to lose.
Yeah. That we are. And we've shown that over centuries. Even to ourselves. We have yet to get that with the otherworldly being. All right. Well,
Well,
let's
Before
yeah.
we go, the other thing, I mean, and I don't recall if you guys mentioned this, but a lot of Nick Fury's MCU reputation was earned by Talos and the Skrulls.
Yeah, that's
Right.
what we were
So-
discussing. That's
yeah,
why
so-
Talos and him had that conflict. It's
Right.
because his career was based upon what he brought the Skrulls in to do for him as espionage spies, to get him all that clout,
Right.
have ears on the floor to different people. That's how he knew about Stark. That's how he knew about everybody else. I wouldn't be surprised if it went all the way back to Black Widow, as well as Clint Barton and everything else when it came to bringing the Avengers in.
Well, they do. I mean, I think don't they mention something like that somehow they
Yeah.
help getting the Avengers together or something
Correct.
like that, right? So it's interesting, like, now that they're gonna, when they said that Nick Fury got help from from the Skrulls, I honestly felt like, oh, so you're kind of how can I say, you're bringing Nick Fury like several steps down,
Mhm.
because now it's like, oh, so Nick Fury is not a badass as you may think.
Yeah.
It's just that the Skrulls have
He
been
had-
helping him. Yeah.
Right. He had this spy network. He had this network of spies that could be anyone. And yeah, it kind of does take him down a little bit, but I think I can see it. So
It pegs him down a notch in a sense, but the comment that we do get in the next episode from his wife in a discussion on the phone, she sees this as a newer Nick Fury that is very similar to the way he was before. And I find it very, very interesting. Like, but that was before they have like a key conversation. But we'll move right along, because I think it kind of segues into that.
Right.
And we're discussing episode 4, which is called Beloved. And the synopsis for this is,
Fury must make some hard sacrifices.
I just love how it's just like one sentence
Yeah.
synopsis. Oh.
Yeah, this one was interesting, and especially watching it today, watching it twice today was kind of it's very short. It's only 35 minutes.
Yeah.
So I think it must be the shortest one of
It
all
is.
of them, but it
Right.
has this amazing action sequence that we'll talk about at the end, I'm sure.
Oh yeah.
But it was it revealed some things and it left some things open and give us some more questions, and we'll have to see what happens.
Yeah.
Right. Well,
Would
I
you
mean, the beauty of it was that it revealed that one, Nick Fury never knew that his wife was a Skrull, or at least from what it makes it seem was like he did have a real wife or something like that.
No. She explained that she explains that whole thing in the long game when she's taught when he comes into the cafe, right, in 2012.
Yes.
And he meets her and she says, this is the one in Paris, and he says he's waiting for someone, and she says, well, what does she look like? And he goes, well, that depends on what week it is. He already knew she was a Skrull.
Yeah, he already knew. Yeah.
And then she says that she specifically picked this person because she knew it was the right, like she was playing the long game. This is one of my points, so I'll just go straight.
She actually talks about that, and he says it's the long game. You were in there from the very beginning.
Right, from the very beginning, when she took over that woman's life, she says, I made her 3 promises. The first one was to bury her at sea, which I did. The second was to continue to be a daughter to her parents. And Fury says, which you also have done. And the third one was to never hurt Fury, because
Fury or her beloved, which literally, Steve, this is where you would say, because it's like a mic drop.
Mic drop, yeah. Several times in this episode, they said beloved because that poem. But yeah, she was all the way back from 2012. She was one of his network of spies, because that's why in the quote that I had where she says, well, I don't technically work for you because our unit doesn't technically exist. Yeah. Because he says station chiefs can't be with their people. And she's like, well, I'm not actually your people because we don't exist. So so he knew from the beginning that she was a Skrull. And because that's why she asked him that question after the whole shooting scene. She asked him, would you have still loved me if I was my true self? And he doesn't answer, but he walks out saying, I guess we'll never know. And then he just walks out.
Yeah, there's more to that scene too that's involved, which is because like I stated in the very beginning too, when we got the reveal of her, we see her cooking as a Skrull, and then she changes once he walks in. Right.
So that made us question whether he knew or not. But I think
we know that he knew. It's just that I think she realized he preferred her looking that way.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and just appeasing him.
Absolutely.
Or she assumed, because I mean, if that's the case, then she never gave him an option or said, hey, or maybe had him walk in on her one day, looking like a full Skrull and see how he reacts or something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see if that ever.
Yeah, it's not easy being green. But yeah, we'll get into a little bit more discussion later on within that conversation, because that really, between Fury and Farah / Priscilla, was a very genuine conversation, and was very dramatic and very good.
That was a great scene. Yeah, great scene.
It was, and I just love the layout of the house too. I don't know if you picked up on a lot of the things that were there, but I thought they were very good on the set decorations. But with me, in the very beginning of the the episode, we see Gaia. She gets up. She's obviously alive, and she has the extremis power in her, and she's able to self-heal. Yeah. So that's a great reveal. And
I love that montage, that whole montage they showed us that we didn't see in episode 2 or episode 3, when she gets the information about what the password would be, and she tells it to Talos, and then we just see her leave, but we don't get to see the in-between. We get this montage of her going into the lab, turning on the machine to make her super, and we go, oh, now we understand why it took her so long. And that's probably why it took her so long, and why Gravik was able to catch up with her, was because she didn't because Talos tells her to run. He says, okay, you give me the password, they're going to know you're the traitor, you need to run. But yet she stops and does this little maneuver thing, and to give us more Amelia Clark. So
yeah.
I guess the question is that well, I mean, the fact that she changed herself, is
Mhm.
it a permanent thing or is it a temporary thing?
I think it's a permanent thing,
I think-
honestly.
Yeah, I would think I think
It's like a
I
gene
think
splicer, or what did they call it back in with Spider-Man? Something collider. And
Right.
Yeah.
they used that, and I think that's how they explain Sandman. I think it's the same thing. It splices genes together, so they're getting all these genes from these samples that they got from, let's say, Groot, because these are Groot,
Right.
Cull Obsidian, the Frost Giant, and Extremis. From what
Right.
we know, there's probably more that we don't know about. I would laugh if somebody actually has Peter Parker.
I think
DNA.
what you're saying is because she changed, because when he shot her, she changed into her scroll form.
Mm,
I don't know if that was a conscious thing or just because of the trauma.
I think it's because of the
getting
trauma.
I think so too, because at the end, towards the end, when Talos gets shot, he can't maintain.
He's like half
his-
a scroll. He's
Yeah,
like
he can't
half
maintain
there
it.
and half human. And then that was a really good scene altogether too, with the
Mhm.
action involved and the way they were able to portray it too, because of how Fury reacted and the other federal agents that were there that listened to Fury.
Mhm.
So yeah, that was a good scene as well. I just love the fact that all right, we still got Gaia. There's still a chance to have Maria Hill back. For all we know, maybe she was a Skrull herself and she just didn't die.
Mhm.
And maybe she had that stuff inside her all along and is a different Maria Hill somewhere.
Maybe.
But that's wishful thinking. But I just love the scene between Fury and Rhodes, or the Skrull Rhodes that we see
Right.
that gets out of the shower, who, I'm sorry, when they put a towel over their chest, that is a woman. And
Usually.
by the feet and look of the facial and the hands, that looked like a woman, a female Skrull. And then
So
she
Right.
it might have
changed to
been.
Rhodes. So, and
Hadn't thought about that. Could have been.
and on top of that, I just love the conversation of, like, even when that Skrull was talking to Vara in the church, and and explaining how they fired Fury. I
Mhm.
DDT'd him off the top rope like that, like the Undertaker.
Yeah.
That conversation, that quote. I'm like, all right, Rhodey doesn't really talk like that. But
Yeah, it was like when they, like, in my first note for this one is all caps. Rhodey is a Skrull. Is all caps with exclamation point. Because they really wanted to hit us over the head. Okay, if you didn't figure it out when he called her and told her to meet him at the church, if you didn't figure it out when he was in the church talking very un-Rhodey like to her, then we're gonna literally show you him change from a Skrull into Rhodey.
exactly,
Right.
especially when they say to Vara, "Enjoy your concert." They're in a church and there's gospel music going on.
Yeah.
It's
And I
like,
just,
all right, that's not a human thing to say. It's like, enjoy your concert. It's not a
in
concert.
case
This is
it's like
church.
it's like the writers and let's say, okay, in case anybody hasn't figured this out yet, we're gonna make it totally clear to you
We're gonna bonk you over the
Yeah,
head.
that Rhodey is a Skrull. And I love that Pappy Van Winkle. I just finished a rewatch of Justified.
Yeah.
And they talk about that Pappy Van Winkle bourbon a lot in there. So
Wow, is that a real thing?
it is. It's a super expensive. Yeah,
$5,000 a bottle, apparently.
Mhm. Some of it $13,000 a bottle, over
Damn.
$1,000 a bottle. Yeah, 23 years age. I looked it up before we got online here because I wanted to see if it was a real thing. Because like I said, I just finished Justified, and they talk about Pappy Van Winkle in there all the time. So it is.
Yeah, if everybody remembers when we covered Jessica Jones, Steve does know his bourbon. He does know his alcohol.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is like, that's like, wow, that's expensive.
Yeah. The other thing that Rhodey says in that exchange in the hotel room is he says, "Now get out of here before I defenestrate your behind," or whatever he says. I had to look it up. I had to know what defenestration is. Being thrown out a window. That's what that word means. I had to look it up because I was just like, defenestrated. What is that? What does that mean? And so I had to look it up as being thrown out a window.
Okay.
Go figure. I don't know where the root word comes from or how it is, but there you go. And I love the liquid tracking thing that he jokes with him about putting liquid trackers in the bourbon, and then of course that's how they find him. That's what I didn't figure that out until the second watch, that I heard him say liquid tracking, and then later on Talos is like, liquid tracking, huh? And then they see the explosion with the caravan, the cars getting attacked.
Well, let's go back. I'm not saying to go back to the conversation, but about Fury and Varys / Priscilla. The conversation was very sweet, very innocent, very honest of how he disappeared. She came back. It's literally about their whole life together at that point.
Right.
And it got to a point where it's like he tells her to take her gun out. He knew that because he was listening in over the conversation. But
he had bugged her somehow. They never show us how he bugged her, but apparently he must have bugged her in some way, or he bugged the house or something. So,
and you could tell it's like they were playing together as best they could, but she was living up to the rules of being that love that Priscilla, Priscilla Davis, I think her name is, the doctor, that gave her life to Farah to encounter love, and then having that life and having her life live on with her being as her. And, obviously it was one thing is like, not to break Fury's heart or, just to love him as is.
Right.
But yeah, I thought it was very true, and you can understand there's an endearing factor in it, and it is very respectful. She still does love and care for him, and I believe he still feels the same way. So I don't think this is a character we could just cast aside later on.
I love that moment, when they're reciting that poem again from that date when they were and they were reciting that poem again there at the end, and right at the end they both recite it together and shoot almost at the same time.
Yeah.
And they both miss. Right. And then I love, what was Fury's line? I didn't write it down, but Fury's line was, well, I guess that either means we need to get divorced or renew our vows.
Yep. That's exactly it. I have it here.
Yeah.
Well, the funny thing is that scene just reminds me something out of like Mr. and Mrs. Smith.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. With like Angelina Jolie and Brad Pitt.
Yeah.
So,
I don't think they missed. I think they missed on purpose.
They did.
Right. No, I totally, that's what I mean. I think they missed on purpose.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And somebody shot one of those Greek statue faces.
Yeah.
That's on the wall. And notice how they were Greek god statues or faces that were on the wall. And then they had a lot of African American like pictures and books and everything else. There was actually an award in the back for a doctorate for her being Priscilla Davis as well, just to point that out. So it's not like she wasn't playing the character or that person or stopped playing it after the blip. She kept being who that woman wanted to be.
Yeah, I hope we get some more of her, but I'm not sure because he gets up to walk out and he says they'll be coming for you. And she says, I'll be ready or something like, because remember, Gravik said, one of you is not going to walk out of that house.
Correct.
And so I'm afraid we might not see her again, but who knows? She might.
Who knows?
I mean, you know what, you know how it is. Either they get to her, kill her, and of course that makes Fury,
mad
and become, the old Fury or whatever it is, or she just, all of a sudden helps and, defeat the other Skrulls. I mean,
yeah.
I don't think she's.
We got 2 episodes
gone.
left, so we got 2
you
episodes.
never know. They might put the Lethal Weapon moment onto us and make Fury turn into Riggs and start going after people and shooting, going after his woman. You never know.
Yeah,
but I thought a really cool scene, and this is obviously the finality of it. This would be President Ritson, and I got it right because I kept calling him Rickson. And the convoy and him being attacked by Gravik's people acting as like Russians. I still believe that this is their attempt to get the president and have somebody become the president
I don't think so. I think they were trying to kill him. I think they were trying to assassinate the president and making it seem like the Russians
were doing it?
The Russians were doing it. That's
Okay.
what I think. I could be wrong. You could be right. They want to put somebody in place as the president, but I think it would be better for what Gravik's plan is.
Yeah.
Because his plan is to destabilize the world. Well, what would be more destabilizing than to assassinate the American president by Russians assassinating the American president? That's like, get my words in the right order.
Causing all-out war, basically.
Right. Exactly.
Which is what he wanted to do in the third episode with the submarine, and
right, the United Nations plane.
Right, the United Nations plane. Mm-hmm. So yeah, his plan is just to destabilize, hopefully even start World War III if he can.
Mm-hmm.
Because remember, the Skrulls can actually
live through radiation.
So that means that if they wipe themselves out, even if the entire planet is radiated, guess what? They have a new home.
Yep, correct. So have got their new home. Yep.
I just think that when Talos was telling Gaia about the humans, we do this and we show them we have a bargaining chip, and I'm saying to myself, you still don't know humans, do you? Because it doesn't matter. It will never. I mean, I don't think. I mean, I know in our world here, but I mean, even in that comic book world, I don't think they will ever accept the Skrulls for many reasons. Even though, people could say, well, Asgard, they let all these Asgardians stay in Norway in New Asgard, but it's like, yeah, but those look human, and they are, and they don't change.
Right, they look human, and they're
right.
And there's
to have
not
a
a million
bunch
of them.
To have an entire race that could be chameleons.
Mm-hmm.
That will make humans suspicious of everybody around them.
Oh, we already had a little bit of that issue in She-Hulk, if you remember.
Right.
When the elf from Asgard was trying to be, I forgot her name, Megan Thee Stallion.
Megan Thee Stallion.
And she fooled the one lawyer into paying for her car. And giving her all these gifts and everything. And he found it, but if you look at what Talos's point of view is, he still wants to live amongst the humans in hiding and be one among them, whereas Gaia sides a little bit with Gravik in trying to be a bit of their own and have their own world, kind of almost like what you're saying with New Asgard. And having their own land. Gravik is onto the extremist, or since he's already got it in his system now, extremist. He wants to destroy the human species so they could take over the planet Earth.
Exactly.
And utilize it for what their needs. It's pretty much the typical alien taking over Earth to reap its rewards because we screwed up our own world. And then they would have to make a call to their other people, kind of like the Decepticons coming down to Earth after we've taken over Earth, I
don't know. They haven't talked much about, I mean, Talos talked a little bit about that Emperor and that there were people that were still back there, but I really think Gravik is more just inclusive of
people in general that he has.
The ones the million that are here, that's all we're going to worry about. We're not going to worry about the ones that are already been conquered. I think anyway. I think he's really concentrating on, we're going to make this world for us, not for Skrulls everywhere, for just Skrulls that are here.
Right. But who knows?
Who knows?
Exactly.
Who knows?
That attack on Ritson while he was in the truck.
Wow.
That reminded me out of Iron Man 1. He was definitely not in the fun V.
Right.
It really reminded me of that. It was the first episode of Falcon and the Winter Soldier where they have that huge aerial battle. And you have all these flying around. I thought I think I'm going to go out on a limb. I think this is the biggest action sequence we've seen from one of these MCU. Even from Falcon and the Winter Soldier, I don't think there was anything this big involving this many explosions, this many people, this many
You're
vehicles.
talking about a
physical stunt.
No, but I'm talking about you're talking about Disney Plus series, because the movies have always had a lot.
I'm not. I'm talking in TV, in the TV shows that we've had. This is like the biggest action sequence we've had I mean, that I can think of. It was huge. I mean, you got explosions going on, you get guys getting shot, people getting killed, you
Mhm.
know, Fury and Talos, and then that Talos banging on that bulletproof glass,
He
trying
was
to get it open.
relentless at doing that just to get to Ritson.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the funny thing is that I love the one scene when the agents show up saying, you know, they knew that Fury was in charge, and they looked and go, alien, we got to shoot it. It's like, kill it, like that.
Right,
Anything typical that humans would do, especially this day and age. If we see an alien, just kill it. But they and then Fury reassures them, and they wind up protecting him, and then he gets Ritson out of there, and then we get the whole within that scene too, we see Gravik with Groot.
Gravik somehow
arms.
switched places with one of those guys. I don't know how. They didn't show us how he did that or when he did that, but apparently Gravik switched places with that guy because that's what he kills.
Yeah, he
Talos,
basically
so.
switched. Yeah, he kind of snuck in as that particular agent or whatever.
Right. I guess my only problem with that scene was the fact that when it happened, when you see graphics and all of a sudden stabs Talos,
Mhm.
the agents in the back, you would think at least one of them would also notice and start shooting, his way.
Mhm.
And they're just, like just ignoring everything that's going on and just shooting the other way, which I understand, there's a big firefight, but I don't know. It just seemed like if, all of a sudden one person turns into another.
There should have been more guys with Fury on the president. It shouldn't have been just Fury.
Right.
There would have been more guys in that area who would have seen Talos get picked up by this unknown soldier, and I'm with you. That's now that you bring that up, I think that is
Well, not only that, but whenever the Secret Service is with the president, I don't give a fuck that it is Nick Fury. The Secret Service sole job is to protect the president. So that means they wouldn't just let Fury take him.
Correct.
They
Yeah.
will go with the president, period.
Yeah.
And
That's
they
what I'm
didn't
saying
do that. So
I
that was
totally
the part
agree
that
with
I
you.
thought it was a little bit of disconnection there. I was like, no, if it's the president of the United States, trust me, I mean, it would have been a
There would've been-
shitload of Secret Service people just trying to protect them, or get, as a matter of fact, just become human shields if they
Right.
have to.
Very true.
Yeah, there should have been more guys around, especially when Fury goes, "Oh no, I've got my own car," and I'm like, but of course it gives us the cliffhanger of him. Which, by the way, another suspension of disbelief. That car survived that entire firefight without getting a scratch on it.
Yeah,
Of
Is that-
course.
it's
Of
leftover
course.
shield tech.
It's Nick Fury's car. So, but yeah, so then we get our cliffhanger that Fury drives off with the president in his.
Right.
Yeah.
Where are they going to go?
The one
And Gravik
takeaway that
jumps
I
on the
did
motorcycle.
enjoy about that particular scene, though, is when Fury is there, Talos keeps going at it after he's shot, but you could see half of him as Skrull, and the makeup and the CG combination, because it was mostly practical as well as the CG kind of morphing
Right.
in and out.
Mm-hmm.
And it was done very well. I think they got the money right when it came to actually mixing it in comparison to certain movies that we got over the past year.
Well, that's why you couldn't have any more celebrities in this, because just the effects were taking too much money. They're like, listen, we can only afford two.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Don Cheadle and Samuel L. Jackson. So,
And Emilia Clarke as well.
Yeah,
too,
and
with
Emilia
her.
Clarke. Oh,
Yeah.
she hasn't done much, but okay.
Well, except for that one scene when she got shot, but that's about it. But yeah,
I think we're going to get more of her.
before this, she hasn't really done much. I would say in terms of work, I think.
Right. I mean, you got Game of Thrones was really.
and
thing
she
that
was
put her on the
Sarah
map.
Connor and
Yeah, she was-
Terminator Genesis.
Yeah. So
That was
Yeah.
wasn't
I'm
that
with Rob, though.
before Game of Thrones?
Was it? I don't think so. I think it was during it.
I think it might have been during. I don't remember, but you're
okay.
right. I mean, she hasn't done a lot of stuff to where she would be big.
She was on a Sci-Fi Channel movie at one point too, which is really
Right. I
Yeah.
mean, I know that she has some. I know she has some health problems at one point.
Yeah, she had a
Yes,
brain,
right.
almost like a brain aneurysm at one point, and she survived it. God bless her.
Yeah.
But-
So
Yeah.
But I think it was something else. I'm not sure. I could be wrong, but I think it was something else, and she was just taking time for herself, which she definitely has the right to do that. I mean, she has
Yeah.
to take care of herself first.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, it's just again, I think for me, it's getting like the series is getting better.
Mm.
I just wish there were more of I just wish there was some superheroes
Supers.
involved.
Yeah.
Right.
Where now
That was my
because
last. Yeah.
Rhodey itself again is a secondary, a tertiary character in
Yeah.
the MCU,
Correct.
and this is as big as and then they replaced him, so that was their kind of like their way of saying, okay, we replaced one of the Avengers, right? But I wish that I don't know, God, just even if it was like for 5 minutes, I don't
For a
care,
cameo. Yeah. 5-minute cameo. I
of
get you.
Tony Stark or
I wouldn't be
or
Tony. I would say Captain Marvel.
oh, that's right. Tony Stark is dead. But Captain Marvel, well, yeah, I don't know, whoever is
Sam.
left.
Yeah.
Sam, who is Falcon or
Yeah,
Captain America now.
that's right. So yeah, you got Bucky, you have Wanda, you have you have at least a few of them. You have Ant-Man, whatever it is. I mean,
You would think that Fury would use his contacts to, hey, we need to get, especially once they see that there's super scrolls. That was my last note from episode 4 was who's going to be able to fight these, who in this show
Could
is going to be able
them.
to fight the super scrolls except each other. That's why I said I think it's Emilia Clarke. It's going to be
yeah, of course,
Diane
because again,
Gravett.
they're you have to understand they can't. I've always said from the very beginning, I said this should have been an Avengers event movie
Mhm.
where now you have super Skrulls or you have Skrulls that are acting as superheroes, and then you have real superheroes, and then you can have another like end game type of battle that way.
Yeah.
Which that's how it was in the comic books.
Mhm.
But here it's like you were saying, Steve, the only way that they're going to actually be able to fight Gravix is by having Emilia Clarke, character
Yeah.
Mhm.
fight him.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's the only thing I can see.
I think for the show itself, they're going to try to reduce that down. I don't think this is over by the end of this particular season. I have a
hope not.
funny feeling it'll probably
Well-
leak into the MCU itself, and then we will get what you're thinking, Rob. And then
I mean, they have that whole Kang thing happening. Although who knows now? But
well,
the
we have no
MCU,
writers to rewrite it.
yeah,
Yeah.
there are no writers or actors now, so we don't know what's going to happen. It's going to be people. It's going to be fan cat. It's going to be what is it? Fans making their own movies.
Fan
Yeah.
fiction.
Fan fiction right there.
Fan fiction. Actually, you know what? That's what we should do. That's an idea. We should film our own movies. As cheap as they are, it's better than the reruns that people are going to get for the next few months.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody's going to make a movie about Nick Fury. Call it Nick Fury Roads. No, Nick Fury and Rhodes. It would be funny.
Oh my god! Boom.
Yeah, exactly right. I think we well we all said it that this episode ended on a cliffhanger. Talos gets stabbed by Gravik. He's left alone. You got Fury. He has written in his car. That's how we're left off. We don't know what that cliffhanger is going to hold. We won't know until next Wednesday. So yeah, that's what we're left off with. But those are pretty much our thoughts, I think, on this particular episode. I have no further quotes. I think we quoted the hell out of what we needed. I don't have any other notes either. So if you guys have any, all right.
No, I'm good.
All right. So with that, we'll move right in. We did get some feedback, but this is a friends kind of feedback. This is from Derek O'Neill from TV Podcast Industries, who we love, and they're actually covering Secret Invasion 2 on their podcast as well. So he says, great to hear your thoughts on Secret Invasion. It's great you're enjoying it so far. Just a note, Olivia Colman plays British MI6 Sonia Falsworth, not Shirley. Thank you, Derek, for pointing that out. Yes, maybe I had Airplane the movie on my head, and I thought everybody was called Shirley. But thank you for correcting me on that. And it's great to listen to you guys too as well.
Yeah, they do a
I've
great.
yet
They have a great podcast.
Yeah, I have to just to plug a little bit for TV podcast industries. They got a lot more going on too, by the way. I think they're covering The Witcher full things too.
Are they doing both The Witcher and Secret Invasion? I have
I
not.
th-
I need
I
to keep up
think
with them.
so. I
Okay.
don't know. But listeners, you could go check them out and their thoughts on that as well. They've been around a lot longer than we have.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll just move right along into some news that's out there. So the WGA strike is still going on, but it's really affecting the writers now. Something was recently published, and John Campia on his YouTube actually mentioned it. Somebody published it stating how it was some sort of CEO or somebody that stated that they wanted to see the writers suffer to the point of losing their apartments or their houses until they could come to a settlement. And honestly, I think that is really just nasty.
Yeah.
I really think that's just like you're trying to put people out of house and hold, but because you want to stand to it. And a lot of people are pointing it to more streaming content because Netflix, as we know, doesn't want to pay the residuals out, which sucks. Yeah, because they literally just pay a streaming service and they get paid a little bit on it, and that's about it. But if something is on video, and this calls back to what Rob would love to talk about, which is Blu-ray, 4K Blu-ray, anything of movies and that content, or even TV, they get residuals on anything that comes from that physical medium as well. And that's why I always, I back you up, Rob, on this. That physical medium is very much important because, one day you could turn around, you already paid a license on, let's say, iTunes or Amazon or something, and they pull that and you don't have it there.
Well,
Mhm.
not only that, but it's the fact that a lot of people have basically just kind of sworn off not only physical media, but even probably buying digital media because they think, oh, I could stream everything. I'm already paying
Correct.
for, for a subscription per month. And, it's out there. And they don't realize, HBO, Disney, all these different,
Even
all
Disney
these,
Plus.
yeah, they have pulled a ton of shows out because of that. They know that, hey, we have to pay residuals to some of these people. So let's not, give them a chance for that. I also heard about a writer for a show that he got his residuals for, this was like years ago, and it was like a $12,000 check, but with like Netflix, it was a $4 check, from 12,000 to $4. That is insane. And I'm sure a lot of people have, seen already the Fran Drescher speech that she gave, where she really came down on this whole thing. And she basically said, you pay hundreds of millions of dollars to these CEOs, because of course the studios are claiming, they're almost claiming poverty. And she's like, how the fuck are you claiming poverty when, your CEO is getting $100 million?
Yeah.
So, and it's true.
It's sad.
It's always, and it's been that way with any corporation where the CEO gets, it happened. I remember years ago with the big, financial problems that we had, and like all these CEOs were also getting hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars, and everybody else was just getting peanuts. So trust me, I feel for them because it sucks. You got your A-lister actors that honestly, they could demand whatever money they want because of course they're A-lister. But for people who are just working actors.
Yeah, like Sean Everett Scott.
Yeah.
If you think about it, think about that character actor. Not
Right.
just to point a finger, but I'm just saying those people are working actors, and we know some of those too, Rob. We've dealt with them in our professional medium in home theater installation and things of that nature. Me being an installer, you being a salesperson, and these people thrive on getting those jobs.
Yeah.
And that is their source of income.
Absolutely.
Which leads us to the SAG-AFTRA strike that just like followed the WGA strike.
Yeah.
And now they're having issues. And
And that's
They
what I meant by Fran Drescher because of the SAG,
yes,
the whole SAG thing.
yeah,
Mhm.
and it just follows that. Unfortunately, listeners, this actually does affect us in a sense of us looking at new content coming our way, if not possibly being halted for another year or two. The last time we had the writer strike, it cost us a lot of TV shows and
Correct.
certain movies or delays of movies. Now with the Actors Guild, they're the SAG after a guild, they're going to be like, nope, we're not doing anything, and they put
No,
a
Hollywood is shut down now.
it's literally shut down to the point where they can't do anything. And our friend Ben Beck actually posted something about rules that was sent to SAG-AFTRA people who are on strike, that what they can or cannot do. Literally, they can't do interviews for podcasts, and they can't do conventions. They, the only way and loophole around them, because a lot of these people need to, make their money as well for regular actors. They could go there for signings at a convention. They don't necessarily have to go there to promote past or present. They could literally just be there to sign autographs and take pictures and relish on what, they could be pictures of work that they had done before, but they can't really talk about it.
Mm.
But and that includes to the point of moderation of panels. And this is where I actually have to convey to those convention goers that are saying, hey, they're not allowed to do panels. Well, they can. There's a way around that. Don't talk about their work. Let's talk about them as a person. What are their likes? What are their other interests in this world? Let's get to know the actor as a person. That would be the greatest way to actually moderate a panel. Let's get to know the actor as a person, because we only see them and identify them with their work. Let's get to know them.
Yeah, the problem with that is that, no matter how much you say, let's get to know him people are still going to try to ask him questions and stuff like
True.
this.
I know.
And then of course, definitely they want to know everything about, what's going on. It's just,
they're at a point where they're shut and locked on that.
they're just shutting everything down and saying,
Shut,
you know
yeah.
what? No. And here's the interesting thing. So like, like a streamer like Netflix,
Mhm.
Netflix has enough content right now without putting anything out there that you could watch something new for the next 6 months and you should be fine. But after that,
Mhm.
once everybody has watched everything they can, that's when shit is going to hit the fan.
Oh,
Other
true.
streaming services don't have the amount of content that Netflix has.
Correct.
So
Like
they
Amazon. Yeah.
Right. So they're already going to have, problems, on at least in that front.
So this is why it's
Mhm.
crucial for you people to go to a convention, find those guys who have the DVD booths, so you can find that cool Blu-ray of that show that you never watched, pay into it, because San Diego Comic-Con at this point, because there's not going to be any media that's there. You might get a few celebrities doing, like I stated, signing autographs, doing photo ops.
From what I hear, there's not going to be a single celebrity going out there.
I haven't heard that yet, but if that's the case, then I feel bad.
Yeah.
But they're at that point where San Diego Comic-Con is actually reduced to what it was originally, a Comic-Con. And the only media that will be there will be those
Paper.
cool comics. Your Artist Alley, go support your comic book artists, everybody. So you could see Mr. Chris Claremont probably. You probably get to see Jim Shooter, Joe Quesada, Dan Slott. Pay into your comic love. But you could also, like I stated, they sell media there too. So if there's a show that you can't find on Amazon or on Netflix or anything, you'll definitely find it at a convention.
Right.
Give those people your money and do that. Definitely subscribe to that belief, because I do, because there's certain movies that I liked, and I think I brought that up onto your podcast, Rob, when I said, oh, I got this cool Blu-ray. It's called Sorority Babes and Slime Bolorama. And
I remember that.
And it's like from 1985 or 1986. And he was like, I never even heard of it.
I never did.
But the thing is, I'm like into that kind of nostalgic kind of horror movies and sci-fi and stuff like that. Where
Right.
else are you gonna find like the old like Bruce Campbell movies that we that used to get in the 90s at the rental at Palmer Video or Blockbuster Video? But yeah, that's the place to go. Uh give the Comic-Con your money. I'd say continue to go. There will be for lower tiered, as far as from what I heard from Sean Clark, who I've met numerous times and have talked to. He's a liaison to the celebrities that are out there and books them for conventions. He's allowed to. He's saying they have a job. So those who are dealing with nostalgic, let's say Rob, you and I both know somebody like with somebody from Wings, and
Right.
they could do a convention. They could easily just do signings and photo ops. They don't necessarily have to promote past or re-released whatever that's coming out or current projects. They could easily talk about whatever they want. Just like if he wanted to, he could talk about his YouTube channel that he did with his son. Tim Daly could actually easily do that. If I actually reached out to Kevin Smith on Twitter thinking, oh, he's in trouble. He can't do anything, but I forgot. I'm an idiot. He's a podcaster. He can do whatever the hell he wants. So Kevin can do whatever he wants, even though he's a writer and actor. And same thing with Mark Bernardin, even though Mark is press. But uh, I would say that anybody appearing for any of these things for like current promotion or promotion of something that's being re-upped by a studio, don't expect it. But
Right.
go support those celebrities that are doing those conventions. Monster Mania has already people booked. That's coming up soon. And Cherry Hill and Maryland, as well as a few others. So go see them. You might not get any panels, but you get to see the celebrity, interact with them, get an autograph, get a picture, keep them doing what they do. But the only funny thing enough of how we get this SEG after a strike going on now, the day before that, what did we get? And it's comic book related. We got Deadpool 3 promo stills of them fighting out on some sort of beach.
Oh
And
yeah.
yeah, you got Hugh Jackman and you got Ryan Reynolds stunt double doing a live action. There's some video on it, and this is not something that they paid anybody to put out there or anything. It's just regular press, and they were just doing a filming thing. So I think it's a nice gimme to the fans out there that are looking forward to this. Because
Yeah. Too bad they got halted. You know that, right?
yeah, I got halted,
Yeah.
but it's enough for us to salivate for a while until it comes back into play. And I hope this does subside. We're 3 months into the WGA strike, and they're talking possibly a full 6 months.
Yeah, they're talking about probably till like possibly
December.
October, November, somewhere around there.
Yeah. And then now that the SAG after people are there too, it's gonna be hard. But once that, like you said, once that media is kind of used up, we're stuck.
Yeah.
But
Get this. So another thing about the SAG, the whole SAG thing is that
Mhm.
one studio or one executive said, or how is it that part of the deal was that an extra, let's say you're an extra or something like that. You remember, extra makes what, $180 a day or something like that.
Yeah.
So their whole thing is that what they want to do is scan you, right? And then they will actually own your image, right? The studio will own your image. And so you get paid for the day when you get scanned. But when you actually, but they could use your image as like, in the back for crowds and for anything without your consent, and they don't have to pay you for it. I was like, who the hell would even try to agree to that?
Nope.
That is the most stupid thing I have ever heard. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, it's like signing off your likeness rights and signing, saying agree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you got paid for it once, and that's it. So it just kind of stunned me, this whole thing. I mean, with especially, with the negotiations and what they're asking for, and thinking that it's all unreasonable. And according to Bob Iger, it's like, well, they're picking a wrong time to go on strike. And and it's like, and honestly, the film industry is having a hard time, which we
Yeah.
all know. I mean, there's been a lot of bombs and a lot of and I mean bombs in the box office. But there's just been a lot of failures, that a lot of movies that just haven't made their money back and things like that.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
and so part of me, when he said that, I was like, while I understand that, but your fucking salary is still about $50 million a year.
Yeah.
All right. So if you want to show any kind of heart, how about you say, you know what, for one whole year, I'm not going to get paid.
Yeah.
And that's it. And you can solve this problem very, very quickly. But yeah, it's very unreasonable, some of the things out there. So yeah, if you live in Los Angeles or live in New York, you know what, go support these guys on the picket line, and stuff
Yeah.
like that. Bring them water, bring them something, or just go out there and and just support them, because they could really use that right now.
Yeah, if you really love your entertainment, you love these people, the entertainment that they provide, please help out in any way you can.
Right.
But yeah, that's what I have as far as a way of news so far. But like I said, the cool comic portion was, well, just before the strike, we got the whole Wolverine in his his blue and yellow suit,
Yeah.
and we
The
got.
question is he going to wear the cowl?
I would not be surprised if we get the cowl on his head maybe twice in maybe two short scenes, real quick. Him taking it off and then putting it back on, and that's it. But honestly, I understand the point of view, and even in the cartoon at one point, or even in the comics, Logan doesn't really have his mask on all that much.
Right.
If I had it on once, I'd be like, there he is. That's it. We got it on film. That I'll be happy with that. Plus the idea of sleeves.
Yeah, because normally he doesn't have sleeves, and this he has sleeves. Who knows? It might be one of those things that it gets ripped off, and next thing something's gonna happen. Here's what I predict: something will happen that they will make Logan look exactly like in the comic books, at least in one scene. All of a sudden, you're going to look at him and you're going to go, shit, that is directly straight out of the pages of the comic book.
Yeah. And I just love it for the fact that we have a blue and yellow suit. That was my favorite. I actually have a statue of that, and
right.
I just love it. But
people claim that it's a suit that was in the briefcase that they, in that.
That was the brown, and
that was the brown and yellow, or brown and orange, or whatever.
Yeah.
Right. So this one is just yellow and blue.
This is like very similar to the very like Hulk
his
181.
Original. Yeah, his original one.
Yeah, except with the whiskers on it. But
I wouldn't be surprised if actually, what is it? Deadpool puts whiskers on his mask on purpose, just to make him look, like, just to like make it as a prank.
That's a joke.
Yeah.
Well, Deadpool's costume too, if you look at it, it's more traditional to the comic. It's more reddish, not maroonish. So
right.
I think it's pretty cool. I'm just glad at what we got so far. We're teased. We're supposedly not getting it until next year, but we'll see what happens in the coming months with these strikes and how far things are delayed. But yeah, with that's our news when it comes to that. Now we're at the podcast point where recommendations, or where people could hear you.
Well, they could hear me on Fantasy Picks Movie Edition, where we take movies that did not make it in the box office or with critics, and they were tentpole movies, because there's a lot of movies out there that don't make it in the box office or with critics, but the big tentpole movies that lost money and stuff like that. And we criticize the crap out of it. And then, of course, we fan cast it and see, if we can make it any better. So that,
Yeah.
and we also do our movie drafts. And I believe maybe by the time you release this, we already would have recorded our next episode, which is going to be on episode 8, Star Wars episode 8.
Hmm.
So that one's going to be fun.
Yeah, right. Steve, obviously live Steving.
Yeah, I can be heard right here on Panels to Pixels, and then I send in voicemails to various podcasts that our friends do, and they indulge me to play them on their podcast, and I appreciate that. Yeah, I live Steve. I give my comments as I go through the episode, what episode of TV, whatever it is, the first time watching it, and it's fun. It's fun. It's better than waiting till the end and trying to remember all the things that I wanted to say. So I just do it,
And it's
as I'm going.
entertaining. I always love listening to it because it's like everybody, they're like, what is Steve going to say? They want to know. It's like, he said it, drop the mic.
Yes.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Thank you.
But
Thank you.
yeah, and hopefully in time we could actually get to that Space Camp podcast. I've been trying to get a bunch of people together, so hopefully we could do that. And that could be found on Adrenaline Cinema podcast, where you could also hear me. Coming up, obviously we already just finished. It's already out. The thing from 2011 that Jerry and I covered. That's right out now, and you could also hear coming up a coverage of Big Trouble in Little China that'll be actually put out with around the same time this is out, and then coming up will be the Lost Boys with our friend Rima, who
Nice.
is on Strange Indeed, which is currently doing Black Mirror. And that's on the Podcast Network when you hear Strange Indeed. So Strange Indeed is covering Black Mirror. You could hear Rima Joe on with me when we cover The Lost Boys on Adrenaline Cinema podcast, where you could also hear me at as well. I was also on The Cast of Us, and we talked about the Dead City episode. I think it was episode 4. Yeah. Yep.
Episode
so
4.
you
Yep.
could.
Or 3.
It was 4.
Oh, it was 4. Because
Yep.
5 just came out.
So
today,
you can hear me on that. Me, Ben, and Kelly were covering that. And Kelly, you could also hear on Adrenaline Cinema because we covered Aliens and we did Speed as well. You could hear Mr. Ben Beck on Wilhelm as well. So he's got a lot of content coming up, but he's also on Lost. We have to go back,
Nope.
Revisited.
It's they changed the name. It's Revisited Podcast.
Thank you for correcting me,
just-
because I'm sure Ben would have killed me.
The Revisited Podcast. Now covering Lost.
Now covering Lost, and I think it's the last season. There's just about finishing up too. So
Yeah, very close. Very close.
and as always, give some love to the Podcast Network, and for like Run for Your Lives, The Cast of Us, Yellow Jackets, WTF. Just go to podcastka.com, and obviously you can hear me and Rob on Powercore Entertainment. So for any feedback, like Derek had done, well, all you have to do is go to our Facebook group. That's how he sent it. So you just have to go to facebook.com/panels to pixels. We are on Twitter at panels, 2 pixels. We sometimes put stuff up there. We are on Instagram, and that's Panels to Pixels Podcast, at Panels to Pixels Podcast. If you would like to send an email, all you have to do is send out a regular texted email to panels2pixels1@gmail.com. Panels, 2 is spelled out T-O, pixels, and the number 1@gmail.com. Just write out a lovely little lettered text email if you want. And if you want to record yourself, you could easily do that and send it as an attachment. You could be part of the podcast as well, and we'll play it. We could be heard on Spotify, Google Play, Apple Podcast, or whatever podcast player of choice that you use. Podcast is the most preferred player of choice as far as what I'm told. And also any sort of ratings or review that is available on Apple Podcasts gets us noticed a lot more. So if you could kindly do that, it would be greatly appreciated. From what I've heard, at the end of August, it will be no more Stitcher. So the Stitcher app is going away. So we've had
Is it really?
Yep, 15 years of Stitcher, so it's gone. So I would highly recommend you guys use Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, or one of like maybe iHeartRadio or Amazon Music. That's
Right.
out there.
That's a shame.
It is a shame. Yeah, because they had a lot of original content, which makes me think I have to go back and find it and nab it, because I loved the Christina Ricci as Harley Quinn. And that was an original content. They had an original content one about Wolverine, which was really cool too. So these are like almost like audio dramas or radio dramas at the
Thing
time.
is that now podcasts are doing that a lot. So it makes it easy for that content to be in multiple platforms as opposed to just be in one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice shout out to Katie Sackhoff, which is her new podcast called Blah Blah Blah. Katie Sackhoff. So check that out. She can be
Is it
found
really? Is it really called that?
Yeah.
Blah blah blah. Okay.
with Katie Sackhoff. So check it out on YouTube.
Why
And
didn't I think of that?
Podcast players of choice. Her and Christian Harloff are on there. I got to listen to a really great interview with her and Bryce Dallas Howard, which was really cool because it's about Bryce Dallas Howard and how she is a director, actress, and how she supports a lot of women in the industry when it comes to filmmaking and TV shows.
Right.
And she gives a nice story of how she got to be in the M. Night Shyamalan movie. What was it? The Woman in the Water or something? I forgot the name of it.
Yeah, something like
Lady
that.
in the Water.
Lady in the Water.
Lady in the Water. Yep,
Yeah.
that was her first shot. She didn't even have to audition for it. Literally was handed to her.
Of course it was. and I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean
Yeah.
that sounded really bad, like, but come on, she's Ron Howard's daughter, so
Yeah.
so and she got trained by one of the best directors out there too.
Yeah, her father.
Yeah. Opie.
Opie. Richie Cunningham. All right. Well, that about wraps up our show. And I have nothing else to say. So I'm Mark.
I'm Rob.
And I'm Steve.
Same podcast, different panel, different pixel. And this was Panels to Pixels, everybody. We'll see you on the next panel. Good night.
Good night.
Good night, everybody.